Here we have an EVGA 3090 that came in for repair. I mentioned this card in the last video I posted, and I told you I do not want to combine working on this card with the other 4090 that we were working on. So the card, that's how the card looks like. What's new? We get those cards in every single day. Every single day. This particular model. The customer said red light, and the card is not powering on. Now it looks like the card was opened before, or maybe not. But if you look here, I do see scratches on that fuse. So maybe somebody attempted to measure, or maybe that's how the fuse looks like. Who knows? And I do not really care. We'll do our job. If we're able to fix it, great. If not, then what can you do? The first thing I want to do is measure for a short circuit on the 12-volt lines. And that's what I always do when working with video cards. In this case, we have 3 connectors, 3 12 volts. One of them is here, inductor, current sense resistor, and the fuse. I want to measure here, and I want to measure here. The fuse is good. Of course, we're not going to have a short circuit, because if we have a short circuit, then every one of those components will measure for a short. Maybe not this pin, if the fuse is blown, but definitely this pin. We do not have a short. And if we measure, let's leave this shady looking fuse until the end. We do not have a short, and the fuse is good. Inductor here, right? And if we measure here, I knew it. Oh, look at this. I see a marker on the board. I told you somebody worked on this card before. I do see a marker here. So they measured for a faulty fuse, and they sent it over to us. We have a short circuit. So a blown fuse and a short circuit. Let me quickly measure here. Far right. Measure here. Measure down here. And our 1.8 volt line in resistance mode, we should have something around 225 ohms. And we have 242 ohms, good enough for me. And our PAX line, we should have a reading between 4 to 9 ohms. What readings do we have? 9.6 ohms. Okay. So I think our fault may be related to a faulty DrMosfet. Usually when we have a 12 volt short, it's a faulty DrMosfet. Which one is faulty? We're going to have to inject voltage and monitor the board under a thermal camera. Or sometimes we may be able to visually tell which one is bad, whether it's on the side of the board or on the other side of the board. Sometimes I look for bulging joints, a solder blob that may be bulging on any one of the pins. Maybe we can zoom in. Let's see if we can figure it out by just doing visual inspection. This chip looks perfectly fine. It may not be fine, but it physically looks good. No signs of stress or solder squeezing out. I do not see signs of burns. No holes in chips. But like I said, visual inspection is one way of doing it. I think that's just thermal paste. Nothing will go unnoticed with this amazing quality microscope. I always mention it in every video. And I always mention, if you're in the same type of business or you are doing this as a hobby, you can purchase the NorthridgeFix microscope directly off our site, along with the articulating arm and all the tools that we use on our bench. Hot air station, soldering station, thermal cameras, original Inventec, Amtech Flux, tweezers, braid wick, everything. Just log into northridgefix.com, click on shop, add to cart, checkout, pay, and we almost always ship out same day. I keep mentioning this for all new viewers on the channel. Old viewers, you may have gotten tired listening to this every day, but just bear with me. You're getting all the information for free. You're learning. You're enjoying the channel. Give something in return, right? All I ask is patience. All right, so nothing stands out as being faulty visually. So what we're gonna do is inject voltage at the shorted fuse, and we're gonna monitor the board under a thermal camera and see what gets hot. We're gonna be using our NF.short, the voltage injection tool. And I think 99% of viewers who watch the channel that do this for a hobby or a living, they bought an NF.short from us. It's like the most used tool on our bench, along with the hot air station and soldering station and flux. I mean, everything is most used, but we do use the NF.short almost every repair if we have a short circuit. Right, so let's inject voltage and monitor our board. It's gonna be a slight heat on any one of the DrMosfets based on my experience working on those cards. You see our NF.short is beeping to indicate that we have a short. And we are looking in this column here, top to bottom. Okay, so I do not see it. Let me check the other side. Right here. Those are where all the DrMosfets are. Let's see if something stands out here. I do not see it. Let me bump up voltage a bit. Oh, got it. Got it. It's somewhere here. Watch. See it? Right there. That's the bad guy. Say hello to the bad guy. How can we remove this DrMosfet safely? The best thing to do is to remove this guy, and this guy. That way, none of them will pop when we apply heat. It happened to me a couple of times where those caps, they just popped because I was trying to desolder a DrMosfet. So it's really dangerous. Better to be safe than sorry, because there is no second chance. Once you lose an eye, it's done. The video title should be how to work on an EVGA 3090, or how to work on a video card, or how to repair a video card without losing an eye. We're gonna apply low melt solder. 1, 2, and 3. So I'm gonna remove all 3 caps. And I wanna make sure all the caps have the same value. So we have 270, 270, 270. Great. All right, so the cap is already out. I pushed it down. Right there. Let's do cap number 2. Okay, and cap number 2 should be out. And we're gonna push it down. And if cap number 3 is not out, then we need to go under and release it. Yep, I heard it. And this one, I'm not sure if it fell or... Yeah, it fell. So, right there. That's one, that's another one. The magic of low melt solder. Thank you very much, low melt. Let's use our anti-glare light. Now we can safely desolder the bad guy. You see, we do not have any more caps here. I mean, just imagine I'm heating up trying to remove that component with all those caps here. They are very close. We may lose an eye or 2 or 3. Got it. The bad guy is out. Nice and safe. Now the chip is the AL, I believe. Yep, AL00. No problem. Now we're gonna have to test and see if we still have a short. Right, we removed the bad guy, but we want to see if we still have a short. I highly doubt it, but if we do, then we have to do the process all over again to figure out where the short is coming from. Right now, based on the thermal camera, that's the bad component. But you never know. Those gaming boards like to play games. Do you have a short? Yes, no, yes, no, no, yes, yes. We do not have a short. Yes, we do not have a short. Amazing. So we got rid of the bad guy. We're gonna have to replace this guy too. And we are on our way to having a working card. Let's prep the pads here and solder a replacement DrMosfet. Just apply a river of flux. How come you apply a lot of flux? I'm glad you're not paying for my flux. Okay, and we have everything covered. Just making sure I have the right orientation. We can tell by the way the pads look, but just making sure. Now we can apply as much heat as we like. No caps to worry about. And the job becomes more fun. Like here, I'm gonna punch you and you cannot punch me back. Awesome. The chip is perfectly aligned. You can look at the placeholders on top here, here, here. And we have pin number 1 here. Just a tiny bit of flux here. We're gonna get rid of the blob, even though we do not have to. Now, those pins, they connect as one. So it doesn't matter if they bridge. Those pins on top, they connect as one, so it doesn't matter if they bridge. And the rest, they look perfect. Amazing. Let's go here. We're gonna replace that fuse. And the fuse is right next to aluminum capacitors, so I do not want to apply heat. Apply flux. We're gonna do it the low melt solder way, because low melt is magic. Okay, so make sure that we soak the pads with low melt. And that fuse is out. Who needs hot air? We have a brand new fuse here, and we're gonna solder it. Again, we're not gonna use our soldering station, our hot air station, but we are gonna use our soldering station. That's one side, and the other side is a bit tight, but we can do it. Right, and we are done. We are done. Are we gonna have a working card? We should. Just want to test that fuse to make sure it's making a continuous connection. So if you measure from here to here, very good. If you measure from here to here, very good. And from here to here, very good. Awesome. Moment of truth, right? Connect the card. We're gonna have to connect 3 12-volt lines. All right, so 1, 2, and 3, we have the PCIe connector connected, and we're gonna plug in our HDMI cable. I'm gonna have to turn that camera so you can see the monitor. We are looking for a Dell logo since we have the card connected to a Dell motherboard. If we do see a Dell logo or writings on the screen, the card is fixed. Then Big Boss can test further, invoice, and either mail it to the customer, or if the customer is local, we call him to come and pick up. So are you ready? 1, 2, and 3. On. I do see lights on that card. Yes, yes, the card is working. The card is working. We fixed the card. Let me turn the power supply off. We replaced the faulty DrMosfet, replaced the fuse. And now, one last thing we want to do is put back the capacitors. The capacitors do not prevent the card from working, and that's why we were able to test the card without the caps. Those are not data line caps, so the card will function without them, but of course we need them. So let's put the caps back. And today I'm not wearing gloves, so I have thermal paste all over my hand because this card has a lot of thermal paste. And that is the reason why I wear gloves. Some viewers ask, how come sometimes we see you wearing gloves and other times you do not wear gloves? I always like to wear gloves so I can keep my hands clean. So I have all 3 caps back on the board, right on top. Now we're gonna have to solder them from the back. And we're done. Card is fixed. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Leave it down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll do something else in the next video. And batteries are working. Microphone. Hello, hello. Good.